All right. Welcome everybody. It's been a little while since we've done one of these. Felt like a good time to get back together with everything we've got going on and give you guys an update on the game. I'm going to keep this super casual and you'll kind of see some of, what we're doing behind the scenes. I am gonna walk through a few of the new features. We did an announcement the other day, kind of going over at a high level what we've been working on, these last couple months, going into the next couple months. And, at a high level, what we're really trying to do is nail down a mainnet alpha version of the game. And so what that's going to entail pretty soon, actually, we're looking relatively soon. You're going to start seeing announcements and partnerships and all the good stuff leading up to, the announcement of our mainnet alpha launch. We are working with Polygon for the initial launch. So we've been doing a lot of the testing on Polygon's proof of stake. It's still proven to be right now in all of our testing the most efficient network in terms of layer twos that we found. That said, we are also looking at a lot of other EVM compatible and non-EVM compatible networks for future integration, because our goal is to be somewhat chain agnostic. I think it's easier at the beginning to incorporate EVM compatible networks, but we're definitely looking outside of that at some other really great networks. But the initial launch is going to be on Polygon. And so we're gearing up for that. Now, the biggest, I'd say, change between our phase 4 build and this next, build that you guys are going to see probably sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks is a major improvement on how we execute blockchain transactions, or at least an option for doing so. So one of the things that we've always wanted to accomplish, and we kind of think is key for any blockchain game, is that you're not really exiting the experience to have blockchain transactions. And so our goal from the beginning has been to have all of those experiences happen in client. And while that is not still, super easy to do natively, because most people are using web wallets, it is getting better and the tech is getting better to do it. But through our partnership with Hyperplay, which you guys will be hearing a lot about in the future, they've done some really awesome stuff when it comes to allowing people to sign transactions using an overlay over the client, so that it feels like you're signing transactions in game, and can kind of do the whole Web3 experience in game. I'm going to show you guys what that will sort of work like. The problem right now is that there's a bug with Hyperplay that they're working on, that their overlay doesn't work perfectly in testnet versions of the game. So we're working with them to get that fixed, but it has been working in some of the testing we've been doing with the live version. So you won't get to see exactly how the feature will work, but I'll take you through some of the new stuff. So that's going to be the big change, and I believe right now I'm going to double check that I have blockchain, Web3 functionality disabled. So that is another big change with this build, and one of the things that's going to allow us to be very flexible with which blockchains we support and how we support the blockchain is that underlying the game, there's actually going to be a non-blockchain version of the game, kind of your standard game experience. You can do everything that you would normally do in the game, except the items that you find, the things that you do will not be sent to you on the blockchain. And then what will happen is you'll have the ability to mint those items to a blockchain wallet. So that'll be kind of the default state. And what that's going to allow us to do is not only ensure a really smooth experience, but make that transition for kind of traditional gamers and Web 2 gamers a lot smoother. So we've been working hard on that, and I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. So one of the things you're going to see when you jump into the next version of the game is, all this is going to seem pretty familiar. But when you go into, let's say here, you're going to have a few new tabs. So we'll talk about these tabs. The first new one that is going to look sort of like the app is, or the DApp, is the training app. So the training tab is going to have your different functionalities for training. So rather than have them on the weapons tab, you're now able to kind of go in and see what's coming next, when you're going to get that improvement. So a lot more signposting here. You'll be able to see, okay, if I want to train my slicing proficiency, I see, okay, this is the slicing data I have. Of course, this is the debug version, so I have a bunch that I can use, and if I want to train it, I just click this button, and boom, it trains it. So that's pretty simple. That's a pretty smooth experience that we've built. If we want to unlock something, same thing. It's going to give you all the unlock requirements in a hover over. You'll see that, you know, at the top, the training data requirement, the avatar level requirement, you know, that is telling me I have 17 and it requires 15, and then the slicing level required 18 and is 15 and I have 18. So I'll be able to unlock this one. So I will just do it, and now you'll see, okay, now it goes to my weapons in my inventory tab, and that's the next thing we'll talk about. And there it is. There's the weapon that I have. So again, kind of making it feel a lot more native to the game. You can do a lot of these things that used to be, you know, a little button over here. The last time we did this was the big improvement where you could actually do it in game rather than on the DApp, but this is another step in that direction. So now, I think the really cool stuff happens when I start, you know, evolving things. And so, like, you know, if I wanted to go and say, like, let's see what I have right now. I've got a weapon. I've got this Bit Saber. So let's say we want to make a new legendary weapon. We're going to start with a basic, and so we'll start with a basic machete because I'm a level, let's see, 17 avatar, so I'm not going to be able to use the evolved to Dao yet, but let's do it with this. So what you're going to see here is our whole new, evolving experience. And through this, we're actually going to be able to evolve this weapon and do all these things in game. And so, if I'm not mistaken, depending on whether I'm holding my augments as NFTs or whether I'm holding them in my inventory system, which is the Web 2 functionality that I told you about before, it's either going to prompt me for a transaction or not prompt me for a transaction. But this is going to be the new UI. And so when I do this and I say, okay, I want to go select weapon machete, I'm going to evolve it. I'm going to hit this button. And now it's running, it's checking to see, oh, it didn't have my blockchain connectivity. So this is doing it from my inventory because I don't have the blockchain features enabled. It's going to do it right there, boom, from my inventory. And so now it's evolved. You have your evolved machete. You can hover over it to see the traits. You can also hover over it to, you can see the traits here. And here you're going to have all of the optionality that we have on the DApp for, doing different things. And so this is important because here you can see, my different things. You'll see here I have my crystals, my charges. Here I have in my inventory, you can see the augments I have. And this is a new screen as well. It's showing you all the different things that you have in terms of augments. So again, this inventory screen is a brand new thing that we did. So I'll actually talk to you guys a little bit about that now, just because I can move on after that to show you kind of how the Web3 functionality will work. But basically, this whole inventory tab is new. So if I have blueprints, which I was hoping I had one of these, but I don't. So I have a Draconic Skull Crusher here. You can see this blueprint and everything you're seeing here is being stored in my inventory rather than in my blockchain wallet. If I connect my blockchain wallet using Hyperplay, I'm actually going to see both the things that are in my account inventory and my blockchain wallet, and I'll be able to use both. But because right now I don't have my wallet connected, I can just see the stuff that I found during my runs, which are in my inventory, unless I forge them or mint them. And so you'll see that button here, and you'll see a hover over that says to be able to do this action, please enable Web3 functionality in Open Hyperplay. So that's going to be the key. And some of these words are going to change. We're still, working on polish there. But what you're seeing here is kind of our new and improved inventory system, which is going to let you do a lot of things from inside the game. And so again, we have our Evolved Machete. We've got all this stuff. Let's do this. Let's modify one of the traits. So let's say I don't like luck. I don't want to have luck on a weapon. Maybe, I've got some good luck already, but I want to have another power stat. I'm going to, I optimized it. Well, that was a mistake on my side, but I will, hopefully it will work. All right, so my optimization failed, but that was, that's the risk with optimizations. So it looks like we might have the remodel here, and then, right, so what I needed to do was reconfigure. So I hit the wrong button, and I am out of crystals, so I'm gonna have to connect my blockchain wallet in order to do this. So we'll do that once I connect my blockchain wallet. So what you're seeing here is, kind of the Web 2 functionality where you're going to be able to do all this stuff from inside the client. So obviously what you saw was a very smooth experience. You didn't need to sign any transactions. You just click the button and boom, uses it from your inventory and you're able to play. Of course, that is, what you would expect with a traditional Web 2 game. Not a lot, of innovation there. The innovation really comes with how the Web 2 features then work with the Web 3 features once you do enable the wallet. So I think that this is going to require me to exit, but I'm hoping it doesn't. So let's try this. I am going to activate Hyperplay. This will only take a second. All right, I've got Hyperplay active. Now I'm going to enable Web3 functionality. We're going to turn this on. I'm going to log off, and then I'm going to log back on. And now what we should see, it's saying it found my wallet, so that's good. What we should see is new things in the inventory, which will be telling me now what I have on my wallet as well. So it's going to be counting both. So before you saw I didn't have any crystals. Well, that was because I only had one crystal in my inventory that I found in game. Now I've got, 24 crystals and 15 charges. So now we can do all the fun stuff with the weapon, and I'll show you how that will work. And so right now, we're going to upgrade this weapon. And actually, I don't think we can upgrade this weapon because I'm not a high enough level. Okay, we're not going to upgrade this weapon. We are going to modify the trait like I was trying to do before. So reconfigure, we're going to say, all right, I don't like luck. I want something else. So we're going to reconfigure this. And these are temporary messages that we're going to redo. But so now you saw nothing happen. That's because it's prompting me right now in Hyperplay to sign a transaction. When we actually get this live, the transactions will just pop up here in the right-hand corner, and I'll be able to sign without ever leaving. But what I just did is I toggled over to Hyperplay, I signed the transaction, and now it tells me that the reconfiguration was successful, and now I've got critical hit damage. So boom, all from the game client, super smooth. The only thing that's missing right now is the overlay that will be here, and hopefully we'll be able to showcase that soon too, once the game is actually live on Hyperplay, which would require a download from Hyperplay's launcher in order to use that in-game functionality. But you won't need necessarily to use the Hyperplay in-game functionality if you just want to do everything using the Web 2 features. And so now what we're going to try to do is we're going to create a blueprint. So again, this is a new screen that we've added. It is part of our in-game UI, and so it basically allows me to cycle between my different blueprints and see, okay, these are the different blueprints that I have on my wallet. Here I don't have any weapons that I can apply this blueprint to. So we're going to go to the one where I do, which is, we've got this Starfall blueprint. We've got this Evolved Machete. See the requirements here. It's going to cost me a bunch of crystals, and then I've got my level requirements, and boom, I can forge it. It's going to give me a warning, and then I am going to wait. So now again, it's prompting me to sign. If this was the live version, it would just be up here in the corner. Right now, I toggle over the Hyperplay. I'm not sure, I don't think you're seeing it, but I just signed the transaction in Hyperplay. And now it is showing the progress. So that's what all this is. All this is the stuff that's happening in the console behind the scenes on our debug version. And so now it's telling me that it was successful there. And so what we should see is the progress refresh, and it will give me the new weapon. So now when I go back, I now have a Starfall in the game, all from the game client. And I can see that it has a shock effect. It has these stats that I added, and let's see, it's got critical hit damage, cooldown reduction, and luck. It looks like I got luck again. All right, luck just doesn't want to stay off my weapon. So if I wanted to change that, I could reconfigure it again. I mean, some people may want luck, or it depends what you're doing if you're trying to push, right? So maybe I'm not trying to push, so I want the luck, or this is an end game item, but maybe I am trying to push. So, we reconfigure this thing. It's prompting me for the transaction again. I'm confirming the transaction, and now it's going to start reconfiguring this weapon. So I'll walk you guys, I'll show you all the different transactions that you can do, the different actions that you can do in the new UI now, but I want a little bit. So actually this came out pretty good. This is an attack speed, critical hit damage, cooldown reduction. Depending if you're ability focused or not, maybe you swap this out for strength or for the damage enhance, but you'll see the different traits that can spawn here. And so most of you know how reconfigure works from phase 4, but the cool part is you'll be able to do it all from the game. And so here you see the current traits and the new traits. That is the Reforge, which you all are familiar with. And then we have Optimize, which again is something that we had in phase 4, but all this was previously done on the DApp. So we have all that, functionality. I'm gonna try something else. And so this weapon right now is currently being stored in my inventory. And the reason I know that, let's see if I can, because this is still something we're working on. Yeah, so right now it's telling me how much of these are in my wallet, how much of these are not in my wallet. And then there's this mint button, which will allow me to take it to my wallet. So if I wanted to take some of these focus augmentations that I have on my inventory to my wallet, it's as simple as I hit this mint button. It's gonna go and it's gonna prompt me. And then I sign my transaction, which again will be an overlay when you download it from Hyperplay. And then hopefully this will tell me that I minted it, and we will see. I'm actually testing this for the first time now with all of you, so we will see what happened. So now I got to remember which of my augments I actually did. I think this is, so it looks like I may, and this is some of the stuff that we're working on is trying to make sure that some of this refreshing is actually happening. So it looks like here it didn't refresh the amounts. And so let's see if maybe if we do a refresh, it will work. If not, that's just the bug we got to record. But focus, I believe, is the one I clicked before to mint. So let's see if maybe we've got it this time. All right, so yeah, so this is a bug. So this is something we'll have to track, and that's what we're working through right now, is kind of flagging all these bugs and, you know, making sure that all this is working properly. And this is a feature that we just put in for the first time a couple days ago, so we are, you know, still testing it. But let's jump in, and I'm gonna show you guys some things that we've done in the run. So like I said, the big focus, the big push has been on trying to get this functionality in the game. It's been a really important thing for us, and we're still fine-tuning it, and that's what we'll be doing for the next 2 weeks. But there are a few things in the game that you will see are working smoother. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new avatar, just because I like them and they're cool. And let's see, we'll go with this. No, we won't go with this guy. We'll go with, I make that guy all the time. Let's go with this guy. And then we'll do, we can have some blue hair. Maybe some blue eyes. And then let's give him some clothes. Let's go. All right, actually, let's make this matches his hair color. Looks like a player for the Giants. All right, let's go with this guy. So we'll create him. All right, so we've got him here. We'll have that. All right, and so I'm doing this because I wanted to show you guys some of the beginning game playthrough. We're gonna select them. And now we don't have any items because he's level 1. And he doesn't have the level to use the ability yet, but let's jump in here. So again, we're gonna have, you know, the same 2 modes that we had before. You'll see that there has been a slight switch. We moved Shizuku back to the first slot. We felt that the Shizuku game and Shiyuki played a little more simply than RTM and Ares. So we've moved Shizuku back into the first spot. What I'm gonna do is show you a couple things. So one of the things that we've changed, which you won't really see on this level, well, I'm gonna skip through that because I don't want to spoil it, but we've added some story components to the gang. So you'll get a little bit of background on the gangs, and it'll feel a little more fluid. One of the other things we added is you'll notice that now each booster has its own box. And so this is a diffusion booster, and I can get it, and I'll get the diffusion boost. And then I'm going to do this. And I'm gonna pause in a few minutes to answer questions, so don't worry, I'm gonna come back to them. But all right, so one of the things that is new is that we've sped up the right click attack. So you can now hit them twice with a right click attack without it. So you'll see that it is faster, and we've worked on the flinch mechanic. And so with the combination, what you'll see is you have to dodge a lot less. So obviously if you go into a pack, so I'm just doing the right click attack right now. Obviously if you were one-on-one, you'd want to go with the regular attack as it's more powerful. We made the right click attack actually a little less powerful. It's 50% of your left click damage. Sorry, the right click attack is 50% of your left click damage or your primary attack damage, but it's faster now. And so combining that with the fact that they now flinch and the flinch is working properly, you can, do these attacks in a group, and you're going to have to dodge a lot less. So it's making the gameplay a little less hit, dodge, hit, dodge, hit, dodge, and a little more tactical in terms of how you're positioning your avatar to your biosynth to actually hit the maximum amount of avatars you can. And so I'm gonna try to herd a group now that I'm a little more underpowered in this sector. Kill this guy with my regular attack. And of course, this one is actually a little more overpowered than a regular basic avatar would be, because it's still getting the boost from the other proficiencies. But here, I'm going to show you how this would work with a group that I'm still getting hit, but if I position my avatar right, I can take down that group without, I got clobbered because I let them get around me. But if you position your avatar right, you can kind of take down multiple enemies at the same time because of the flinch. So they won't be able to hit you. Before, they wouldn't flinch, so you wouldn't really be able to get them with this secondary attack as easily because the flinch was a lot faster and it didn't work all the time. So that is a big improvement that's definitely speeding up the gameplay, especially as you get closer to end game and you have higher attack speed. In the speed run mode, you can really combine that with the supercharge to do a lot of damage really quickly to big packs of enemies. So the idea now is it is a little more tactical, more about how you position your avatar and using abilities, because this attack is faster and you can use it on groups, you can recharge that primary ability with the cooldown reduction that you get from using the attack. So that's definitely going to be a big thing that will help. So the character just leveled up. And so a lot of this stuff's going to look familiar. Like I mentioned, there weren't huge changes to the gameplay itself. There is a big change to Shiyuki, which I'm actually not going to spoil on this one. Shiyuki has become a little harder to beat, I would say. She definitely packs a bit more of a punch now, and it's harder to just get away from her. You have more things you have to deal with while you're fighting her. So I'll leave it at that for now, but I'll be interested to see what everybody thinks when we get in there and start testing Shiyuki. But I am going to jump out, go to the screen so that I can hop over and answer some questions. All right, so I'm going to look at your questions now. So let's see, where do I start? Actually, Danny, if you could just copy questions down into the bottom of the chat here, I can answer them. Or actually, I see you're sending them to me, so I'll just answer. There we go. Beautiful. Do OGs need to be minted before use, or can they be used within the new UI? So that's what we're really excited about with this. When it's finished, because we're still working out the kinks. What you'll be able to do is actually both. So you won't need to mint it to use them. You'll be able to just get the OGs to your inventory and use them on a NFT item to upgrade them. But if you have them in your wallet, you'll also be able to use them from your wallet. The cool part and what we're working towards is that you'll be able to actually mix them. And so if something requires 6 augmentations to upgrade or whatever it might be, and you have 3 on your wallet and 3 in the inventory, you're going to be able to use both. And that is that's going to be a cool feature and keep it pretty straightforward, I think, for users who may not have as much blockchain experience. Does right click still charge your specials? Yes. So the right click attack will still charge. It only charges your primary ability, and that hasn't changed. Does using weapons as opposed to powers in game give better weapon points, upgrade points? So no. So right now, the way that you get the training data and any of the stuff at the end of the level is simply by clearing the level. The amount that you get is random within a range that's determined by the sector that you're on. So at higher sectors, you get more training data, but how you clear the level doesn't actually affect that in a current version. And has the dodge distance changed? I don't think we've changed anything from the dodge. I think it's still the same, but that could have been something they tweaked without telling me. But it feels about the same. I think it's just a little more fluid now. One of the things we did reduce is the number of enemies in some of the early sectors. So you'll see that some of the early sectors don't have as many enemies. So let me look at any news on crystals in game and how collecting them may incentivize player/owner base. Yeah, so I mean, generally speaking, crystals in game are going to be one way of collecting crystals. You'll have the ability to continue collecting them via the opt-in, right? If you're a Legionnaire holder, but you'll also be able to collect them in game. Of course, getting them in game if you don't have any luck and if you don't have any Legionnaires, or 8 army avatars is going to be quite a bit harder than just getting them through the opt-in. But the goal is for there to be a balance where essentially, as it progresses, half so the goal is for half the crystals that are being distributed are coming through the game, and the other half are coming from the holders. So that's definitely the design, and it's something that we're still working through, exactly where that's going to scale. We do have some ideas, and I think we'll put out a lot more information in writing about that, just so that you have it with all the details. But the idea is that a portion of the crystals are owned in game, and a portion of the crystals are earned by the holders, and that way, holders have an incentive to continue, holding and collecting, because as the economy grows, obviously there's more of a need for crystals, and we have those crystals going out through the holders, and if it's 50% and 50%, the scales will essentially have to tip in the holder's favor, either through reducing the amount that's distributed through the game or increasing the amount that's distributed to the holders. And so that's still being finalized, and we're looking at different ways we can do it. But it is, our goal is to always have kind of this duality where the holders have, this incentive to hold because, they're the main participants in the player economy through their acquisition of crystals passively. But holders will also have the ability to earn faster in game, and the end result is going to be some combination of that. That we'll put out a lot more information on that. So hopefully that answers the question. I know that's not everything and it's not super clear right now, but we definitely want to have that super clear before I comment too much on it. Do we have other questions that maybe I missed? Let's see. Feel free to ask any other questions. I'm kind of just scrolling up to see if I missed any. All right, so I am going to, I guess, go back, and unless I see March typing, so I'll wait for that question, and then I will jump back into the game, and I can try to show you guys all, and no financial advice. I guess, let's see. Is there anything specifically you guys want to look at more or have me, focus on? that was kind of the high level. I know I kind of sped through things, and so we may not have seen everything, but I'm gonna give this guy a motherboard so that he has one. All right. And so, yeah, so I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it because we have a lot that we're going to be announcing soon. But the key things are really, everything that we're doing to head towards getting this game to really be blockchain enabled in game, and the mainnet launch. I think that, in the next few weeks, you're going to have a lot more information on that. We're just getting all the socials together. We do have a lot of, partnerships planned leading up to it. Obviously, right now, it's a slower market for NFTs, and less people are paying attention and less people gaming. So we do feel really good that, we're releasing this alpha, and it is a limited alpha. There's obviously, plans to extend past level 20 and, past this difficulty, and, all that is coming. It's all being worked on behind the scenes. But what we want to do is kind of start the adventure on mainnet with this limited alpha so that we can get people, playing the game, interested in the community. We know that we have a product that people really enjoy playing even in this version, and we know it needs a lot of work. So, our kind of philosophy on this is we're going to do the work that needs to be done as we're gaining feedback from the community, because we really do want this to be something that we're building together. And, we've kind of done that since the start. And I think, all of you who are here have been here for a while, and I've talked to a lot of you in Discord, and I love it, so keep the comments coming. But there is a lot here that I think you guys are going to like, and I can't wait to get feedback on when we release it. And I'm going to jump back over to Discord. So let's see. It's level. So, okay, so as you clear each level and are going to pick your booster rewards for clearing the next level, is there plans to increase information on what the iconography means for each of the boosts? For beginning players, it all just guessing as to what you're actually choosing. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think, one of the things that we do eventually want to do, and is something that we certainly have within the plans, but has been, put more towards the post-alpha and beta phase, is some sort of tutorial, right? And as OWD said, right now what we do have is the documents, and the documents are going to be updated. We're going to have all that basic information in the documents. For those of you who haven't seen the documents, it's on docs.satoshiverse.io. There you can kind of get some tutorial, quote unquote, but even that isn't necessarily as clear as we'd like it to be. So we are going to create some infographics, and they will live there while we, get prepared for the beta launch, moving past alpha and, into the actual launch of the game. But our goal is that the actual launch of the game will have all that very clear, and you'll be able to kind of understand that through a tutorial mode and much more quickly. But that's something that obviously we need to do, as an added layer to what we're building right now. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of having, kind of more interactive features. I think that one way that we could do that is through Aurora, and one of the ways that we're thinking about Aurora as an in-game companion is that Aurora is actually going to be explaining a lot of this stuff to the player as the player plays. Again, that's something that will be overlaid at a later time, but the idea is that Aurora is not only, the way that you are getting stuff in the outskirts, but Aurora has the tutorial features as well. And so, yeah, Aurora actually will speak in this version of the game in those mini scenes that I skipped, but that you will see when you get into the game. There's only 3 right now, 1 for each gang, but you will be introduced to Aurora and her voice through those scenes, and you'll learn a little bit more about the gangs through those scenes. So I think that is most of what we have right now to show within the game. I'll just tick through to make sure that I've taken you through all of the menus. And again, so we'll just to recap for those who didn't see it before, you'll see that there's just been a lot smoother in-game UI for doing a lot of different things. And so you'll see here's my Starfall. I go to, I can go and see my system components here. That one's got a bug. So these are all the system components. We've improved the way that these things look within the game. You'll also see that all of your training data is always visible now. It was just a little quality of life thing that we wanted to do. But yeah, you're seeing kind of the way that these all work, the supercharged components. And then again, here you'll be able to kind of see your inventory. You'll be able to mint your items from your inventory to be NFTs for those of you who want to hold them, in your wallet and truly own them. And if they're in the account, I think that's going to be, something that we are drawing a distinguishing between. One of the cool things that NFTs bring to gaming is this idea of true ownership. And so those who want to truly own their items will be able to just mint them to their account. Otherwise, it'll be like any other game, and that'll allow us to also offer the game to Web2 users who, if we want to be on Steam, for example, which we're looking into, we could offer the game in a purely Web2 version that could later be, integrated with Web3. So we have this hybridization. I think it's going to be a really good means of kind of improving the user experience, but also attracting gamers who may not care about Web3 ownership of items and functionality. But in the meantime, it also creates a lot of, it smooths over a lot of the issues we've had with, needing to toggle over to a DApp. The DApp will still be available. We're not, getting rid of the DApp for the time being. The goal is ultimately at some point to have all this only live in the game. But for now, we're going to keep the DApp. But yeah, so this is the place where you can see, your different things. What this is telling me is that, this symbology is going to change a little bit, but this is telling me that this is an NFT item here with the mask. This is going to look a little different, and this is telling me that this is just an item in my inventory. And so you'll be able to tell which items are NFTs, which are not. The other thing is usually, so I should have a mint. There it is, mint button, same thing. That would turn the item into an NFT. So if I want to take this off my inventory and put it in my wallet, just click the mint button, do the transaction, and boom, it's there. So yeah, it's just a way of us also regulating for spikes in gas. Of course, you can wait to mint it whenever you want, and eventually our goal is to have a relayer where all that's being done on the back end. But because of the state of the technology and the different blockchains having kind of different features, this was the easiest way of getting initial implementation in, and it's going to evolve as we go. Ability screen hasn't changed much. So you can see kind of the same setup. And yeah, happy to cover anything else, any other questions, but I don't want to spoil too much, but I do want to show you everything that we've been working on behind the scenes. So let's see, I'm back in the Discord looking at comments and the questions. All right, looks like everybody's just excited about Aurora talking. Let's see. I like it. All right. I love it. So, okay, if there's no more questions, we can kind of keep the vibes going in the Discord. But I'll take a couple minutes for anyone to ask any other questions, or if someone wants to. Okay, so I'm seeing OWD. Are the abilities still the same? Yes, the abilities are exactly the same as in Phase 4. The plan is for those to evolve over time, but it won't be before the alpha release. So the ability system we have in now is kind of the base version of what we want to have, for the future. But the idea is for abilities to scale progressively. But that hasn't been the recent focus. Our biggest task that we wanted to tackle was gameplay functionality or blockchain functionality in game. Aurora should have a distraction feature. We've actually thought about the opposite, but it's interesting because we have thought about getting Aurora involved in the combat. Probably several months ago, we kind of floated the idea of having Aurora have a feature that would call all the enemies to you, essentially like a loud noise that would herd the enemies for you. But we were finding that might be a little bit lazy, and that we kind of like the moving around and speed and the element of skill that brings to the game. And so it's definitely something that we're still looking at how Aurora can get involved. But we nixed that idea because it wasn't necessarily how we wanted the playthrough for the speedruns to be. We did want movement to be a feature of the skill that's required, especially in the earlier sectors where you're kind of plowing through everything. The main thing that's separating people in those early sectors is how well they move through the map, how well they know the maps, where the enemy spawns are, and all that. So there is that aspect of the speed run that we wanted to keep, rather than just you get Aurora to be loud and call all the enemies. But we definitely want to make Aurora more part of the game going forward. All right, so some of the 8-Mo Army have special tiers, viewer, etc. So I think that yes, there's the special tier on 8-Mo Army is the Ape Couture. There's no plan currently to make any gameplay distinguishments between the different avatars, other than the luck bonus, which is higher on Ape Couture avatars, and the weapons, which are automatically unlocked if you have them in your wallet on one of your Legionnaires. Right now, those are the main things that we want. We're trying to kind of strike a balance between the avatars having in-game, usefulness and making them unique in game, but also, realizing that the goal is for actually most people playing the game not to have one of those avatars. So we don't necessarily want to have an in-game advantage for those avatars, other than progression and loot related advantages. So there's no plan to make the features of the avatars, other than the ones I mentioned, significant in game. But that's something that could change depending on how things evolve. But I think that's somewhere where we feel pretty comfortable that it's the right approach. For the 100. So the 100 is something that we obviously value you guys a ton, and we definitely want to get 100 functionality in game. Again, this is something that we're looking at for post alpha release. It's definitely something that's very front of mind. It will likely come as we enable other aesthetic aspects of the game, which will allow you to do certain things with your avatars and potentially, modify the masks and different things like that. So one of the things that we're looking at is skins and functionality similar to skins. That'll be part of, again, also the monetization component of the game. There will be monetizable aspects of the game. Obviously, we need to do that to keep it sustainable. But a lot of what we want to do from that regard is through optional aesthetic components, progression components. The monetization part of the game will come later, and the 100 is going to be part of the aesthetic component. So our thought right now is that they won't actually be avatars. They will essentially be skins within the game that can be used to overlay on an avatar, as the avatar contract is going to function separately from the 100 contract, because you're actually going to be able to level up your avatars. The 100 collection isn't, the metadata isn't stored in a way that we would be able to level it up, but it is meant to be a more of an aesthetic feature than an avatar of itself. So hopefully that'll help. That'll actually hopefully give a little bit more flexibility, because you'll be able to use any avatar with your 100 skin. So you'll be able to take advantage of the luck bonuses and all of that. Anyone have any other questions here? All right, so I'll wait for some more questions if you guys are coming in with them, but I will say that it's been really great seeing all the back and forth. I know we've got a speed run tournament going on right now, and everybody's participating. Great to see the people at the top. We announced in the game mode that there is a small bug that we discovered today, actually, that's affecting certain runs of people. I think Fitzy was seeing. You had asked a question yesterday, and I believe, or at least we believe, that this bug is what's affecting you and a couple others that have reported it. And what it is that the game isn't actually loading a difficulty 5 run. It's displaying that in the dropdown, but it's not loading a difficulty 5 run. It's loading a difficulty 1 run. And so we're still investigating that, but I gave some tips in the game chat on what you can do to check. So if you're seeing, okay, it's definitely still, difficulty 5, I did all the checks and it's still not recording the run, let us know. But it's likely, and that's what we've diagnosed in the last couple of days, it's likely that the issue is just a visual one with the selector. And what's happening is, if you come from a difficulty 5 run, it'll show you difficulty 5 when you go back into the selector screen, but it's actually difficulty 1, and you have to go and select difficulty 5 again, so that the number at the top says difficulty 5, and then there's a couple things you can do to check that. So I know a few people had that issue. Hopefully that'll resolve it, but please let us know if that didn't resolve it, because we definitely want to make sure that everybody's leaderboard entries are getting recorded. And we do have that information on the back end, and that's what the back end is telling us, that those runs were completed on difficulty level 1, and we figured out why, and the reason is that visual bug. But you can essentially go in, manually select it, make sure that it says 5, and it should work. If it says 5, let us know if you're still having that same problem. All right, so I'll give one more minute for any other questions, and if there's no questions, I will wrap this up, and we can we'll keep pushing, keep developing, and you'll have a new build really soon that you can test out. Oh, I guess one thing I should mention is that if you didn't see the announcement, we aren't planning on resetting progress or items for this next testnet release. We will, of course, do that before we go live on mainnet, but for our next testnet release, we aren't planning on resetting progress. The reason for that is largely because we want you guys to be able to test all different aspects of the minting and the earning items and upgrading items, and we feel that will be easier to do with your progress already there. And so we definitely want to make sure that the progress is maintained for this one. The one thing that will reset is the leaderboard, because we've changed aspects of the gameplay that would affect how long a run takes to complete, like there being a faster secondary attack, a better flinch mechanic, and less enemies in some of the early sectors. So you'll see all that in this version, in this next version that we release. But hopefully we'll do another one of these developer updates, probably next time on Twitch, so that recording it's easier. But we'll do another one of these developer updates as soon as we release the next version, and kind of talk everybody through all the new features and go over all of this all again. But for those of you who joined, it's been awesome. Thank you for joining in here. Thanks for being in the chat and continuing to support. We are, working like crazy to get this thing out the door. So, just really excited for everything that's coming, and look forward to all the news that we're going to have coming up in the next couple months. There's some stuff we're keeping under wraps as we go into the mainnet release, and we've never really been about hyping things up until it's time. So it's almost time, and we're excited. We will check in with you guys, over the next couple of weeks. And of course, I'm in the Discord. Miga's in the Discord. Everybody's in the Discord. So, if you need anything from us on the tech side, let us know. Of course, we have Lau and Danny here at all times, ready to answer any questions, or just talk about mermaids, or whatever you guys talk about in general chat all the time. But, sometimes I check in and I just start laughing. But it's good. It's good to keep the spirits high, and as things are slow moving in the gaming space. But maybe next time I'll have someone else join me on this stage, so that I'm not just talking to myself the whole time. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys soon. Again, excited to keep doing this with all of you. Looking forward to your feedback. Thank you, everyone, and talk soon.